vision is your vice. I can taste it on your lips, that sweet cherry red. Oh, 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 I tell me to stay away. You're dangerous at play and quick to turn and run.
What's up, everybody? I'm Russell Taylor, and welcome to this episode of Soulversations, where I have my homie, Deborah Bond, here on the couch. Welcome, Deborah Bond.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. So let's get right to it.
Yes.
Where are you from?
Originally from New Haven, Connecticut, Elm City as they call it, aka Gun Waving, New Haven.
Waving, New Haven. I've heard stories.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Born and raised. That's where all my peeps are.
And how did you end up DC?
17, came down to study journalism and music at American University.
You a baby.
I was a baby and fell in love with the city, like straight up. I mean, first of all, it's a huge contrast between Connecticut and DC, especially in the 90s. So yeah, came down to DC and just everything about the city. Just fell in love, just became enamored with everything about it. So
let me ask you, when you came down to DC, were you interested in music when you started at college? Was it like, I have to do this?
It was, but you know, my mom was really like, that's not going to be your point of focus. She's like, think about whatever else you want to do in life, and we'll put music on the side. We can dabble in that, but you got to have another focus. So that was journalism.
Shout out to Black parents, because my parents said the same thing. They were like, okay, this is great, but we need to get your papers first.
Yes, get your papers first. So I focused on broadcast journalism and minored in vocal performance and melted both worlds together for quite a while before things really started kicking off. But DC, the music scene, you know, was really thriving. There were so many bands. It felt like a band city. There was everything from a group called Fertile Ground in Baltimore, and all the go-go was popping.
Right.
And Divine Nature, Mother's Milk, as they called themselves. So many groups. So I wanted a piece of that action. Like I wanted to be a part of that. Even while I was in school and trying to figure my way out in the city, I knew I was going to dive in eventually. So. And
so hearing all that music and being exposed to this particular area, especially go-go and Mother's Milk and so forth, that is, would you say that's how it shows up? That is an influence in your music now?
Totally, especially like the drums, the percussion.
Yeah.
I immediately met drummers. I immediately met drummers. So many of them who are talented. Some that performed, you know, right here with Soulversations.
Right.
And so yeah, DC's the percussive energy, even the world of gospel that was thriving here, really kind of seeped into the musicians that I decided to work with. And I was a little teeny bit resistant to go-go when I first moved here because I'm from the north, so I wasn't really used to it. And the more musicians I met, the more I started to fall in love with the sound, and the more the sound became almost a part of some of my music. Everything about the music community, when I was ready to dig in, influenced me. The U Street area, the places that were allowing up-and-coming artists to perform and giving you a space, a platform. You didn't have to be big. There was no one worrying about numbers or worrying about algorithms. It was about, can you crank? Can you get on stage and do your thing? And so I met so many. I mean, I'm tripping right now because even some of your actual team here, or, you know, one of your team members is one of the first people I ever had a band with. Shout out Sam Prather. You know, shout out Sam. Yeah, very first band I ever had, and there were just so many musicians eager to work with me, vocalists and writers, and so I was like a sponge, and it just all infused into my sound. Everything from a little bit of that pocket of the go-go to some of that gospel, and then there was just so many, like, the R&B world was just, I mean, Eric Roberson was in,
Eric.
You know, and Cy Smith and Yazara. There was just so many people that were inspiring me to not be shy about what I was doing and to get into it.
will tomorrow bring? Right now in this moment I just wanna sing, 'cause I don't know which way the world is turned. Just keep on walking through it, still willing to learn. It's a haze, don't know where the answers are. I'm the type to take it day to day. I know my faith will get me far. This road seems so long, times I feel alone. Better lift my head and keep moving on. I wonder if there's a reason for this. Confused and broken, send me a temporary fix. Being me, willing to believe I'm gonna find my way, showing with the possibility. When I'm overwhelmed and I can't clear my head, I'll just take it all in stride. I may miss a step, but you ain't seen nothing yet. I'll just take it all in stride. Stride, stride, stride. Oh yeah, yeah. Pushing towards what's in front of me. It's easy to be consumed with anxiety, 'cause every day I'm lifting another load. Don't know how I'll do it, just go with the flow, the flow. There is a light that lives inside of me. I won't take it for granted, keeps this compass guiding me. Living free, willing to believe I'm gonna find my way, showing with the possibilities. Oh yeah. And when I'm overwhelmed, can't clear my head, I'll just take it all in stride. I may miss a step, but you ain't seen nothing yet. I'll just take it all in stride. Oh, I'll take it all in stride. Yeah, yeah. Oh, stride, stride. You better listen what your mama said. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Take it all, let it ride, let it ride. You better listen what your mama said. Why cry when you can pray instead? You better listen what your mama said. Why cry when you can pray instead? You better listen what your mama said. Don't cry, no.
You know, one of the things we talked about a little earlier was about people don't understand the rich music culture of Washington, D.C. The 14th and U corridor with jazz.
Yep.
And, you know, D.C., the Bohemian Caverns was a stop off for Ella Fitzgerald
Yes.
and the whole crew. So
Blues Alley.
Oh, yeah.
You know, legends. Phyllis Hyman
Right,
frequented
Phyllis Hyman,
there, you
Blues
know.
Alley, yeah.
Roberta Flack,
Yeah.
you know, has a live album, I believe, that was recorded at Mr. Henry's Jazz Club in D.C.
Right.
So much history here that I feel honored to be a part of this community in this city. Like, it's so deep. It's a rich depth of music and culture and art.
Chocolate City, baby.
Come on now. Yeah.
So let me ask you, Deborah, when was the musical spark? When did you know, oh man, this is what I'm about to do this, about to go head in for music?
For music. Well, I knew from the moment I had a memory that I wanted to sing.
What is that?
I knew, I just, since I can remember having a memory, so maybe around 4 or 5 years old.
Really?
I don't know why. I didn't grow up singing in the church. I have that traditional upbringing musically. I always joke and say I was born into the funk. So I was a late 70s baby. So I was really born into the Parliament Funkadelic and all that stuff. But for some reason, I always knew I wanted to sing. Since I can just remember, there was no real defining moment. So I really give that to the universe and to God. I believe that was planted in me. But once I moved here, DC, it was really the people I began to surround myself with that made me think, okay, I can actually do this.
Like I can do it.
Like I can do this. Like he plays bass, he plays drums, he plays keys. They have a couple of cool tracks. They're looking for a singer.
Right.
They like my sound. Maybe I could really record a demo or record a record. Like I have to give it to the people that were around me, that welcomed me, that encouraged me, and it just opened it up. Yeah.
So DC, like in a lot of ways, DC was a catalyst.
Totally.
Like the city was a catalyst for you to be
100%.
Deborah Bond, solo artist.
DC made me as an artist.
Woo!
DC made me. They shaped me. The rooms and the audiences, I joke that they hazed me.
Oh, yeah.
I had to, DC don't play around.
Yeah,
you gotta show up and do your thing,
Right.
So I feel like I came into my own. I learned how to present myself. I learned how to perform. I learned everything I learned here and through all of the different avenues that were open to me, and there were so many. So
I love it.
I give it all really to DC, because I don't know if I was in any other city, what would have happened, especially if I was in New Haven.
Deborah, we have come through, we're like on the ending, we hope, of the pandemic.
Yeah.
With the coronavirus, We've lost a lot of people. God bless all the families.
Yes.
Particularly for musicians and creatives that, travel and playing in rooms where there's assembly of a lot of people.
Yeah.
We have also gone through some stuff.
Yes, we have.
So as Black man talking to Black woman, how have you coped, just on the basic level as a Black woman in this world during this pandemic? And then also, what about the arts? Like, how did you negotiate those things?
I coped by writing a record.
Yeah, you were recording at home.
I literally had decided at the end of 2019, I need to put new music out. I was going through all kinds of grown woman, Black woman struggles at that time, between 2016 to about 2019. Feeling quite lost, to be honest with you. And so I decided I needed to shed, what I was feeling and what I was going through the music. And then the world shuts down, right when I come to this conclusion. And I had already been trying to find a new set of musicians to work with, because I've been working with the same group for many years. And things were already kind of bubbling. But once, March 2020 came and we all knew we were going to be sitting still for a while, there were so many things happening. And I decided, okay, get your space together, buy the microphones that you need, get whatever you need technically to help you sit in this house and create, for one, because you need this kind of healing. But then on top of it,
this kind of healing. Go ahead.
That's what I was on the mission for. And okay, we're freaking out. There's this virus. This is all happening. But then there is George Floyd. There are riots. DC was pretty intense, last spring. And so I just needed to write. I needed to share my experience as slightly a newly single woman, kind of navigating life alone. Someone that was feeling a new level of fear for my Black brothers. A really severe level of fear for their lives, seeing what was happening. The George Floyd just opened up a lot of things for me with writing, and so there's a song on the new record called Burden that's basically just me showing love to the Black man and just speaking on how I will always have your back. I will always love you no matter what this world tries to say about you, what stories are written about you, whatever truths may be spun about you. And so for me, it was 2020 was just healing. It was healing for me. There were actually some blessings in the whole thing for me.
You know, it's a common thing. Every single artist that I have talked to, we have all had this introspective that we typically didn't have time for before.
Yes.
That we've gone inside of ourselves and produced something. Welcome to my
Your healing.
Soulversation, my healing.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And also of service. That's another theme, being of
Yes.
service. So I want to
Yes.
thank you for Burden, sister. I appreciate that.
That is my pleasure and my honor.
And
you know?
I wanted to know, that leads to the next thing. I wanted to know what you're working on. Let's talk about this record.
Yeah, so all in-house.
Recorded yourself.
Recorded myself in my living room, sat in a little chair for months and months and months and months. I had nothing else to do, right? You know, connected with some new musicians and a few of my good old friends. And said, hey, got a few ideas. This producer has an idea for this. Could you record keyboards at your house? Could you record drums at your place? Could you record violin at your place? And I literally reached out to my tribe and people that I felt a connection to, even a new tribe. And I am so blessed that, you know, folks were just open and down for me, because they literally did the same thing. They recorded all their parts in their homes, and everywhere from percussion played in London, keys in LA, and violin in Boston, and drums in Nashville. Everybody just did their part. Shout out to Richmond, Virginia, because a lot of the musicians were based there, and they really looked out for me. And I wanted this album, Compass, to really reflect what I felt my energy was and what my life was, and I think also a shift in what my brand was. And so I moved away from some of the bright, colorful, bubbly, life is everything is so sweet and grand, and what folks might have felt from my last album, to wearing a lot more black, recording and leaving mistakes, letting things have grit, letting things feel vulnerable, letting things feel real, having the artwork have no color, having the songs be one word in lowercase. I started to really dream up the significance of it all through last year, like wanting to show a vulnerable side of myself and a raw, that particular word, a raw and grittier side of myself. And we were in a time when just the world was not a pretty place, not just America, but the world was suffering. And I felt like I needed to reflect, I needed to show that through the art. So Compass really does represent kind of feeling lost, midlife crisis for me, trying to find my way, and letting the universe guide me to where I needed to be. And it guided me to these amazing musicians and illustrators who I commissioned to do all this artwork for the booklet. And it's so much about it is the most authentic I've ever presented myself, and also in the most scary way, because I was really nervous about the sound of the record being done at home.
It's a beautiful record.
Thank you.
And when I listen to you speak, I think about I'm gonna paraphrase one of James Baldwin's quotes. It's about art, that art, it has a responsibility to be truthful so we can lead other people to their truths.
Come on.
Another thing of service. So,
yes.
And I also find too, for myself, that when artists are working on whatever medium, the longer we are in the game, the more authentic we become, the less afraid we become in telling the truth and letting people
show
see.
who we really are.
Yeah.
Show who we really are.
And to be fair, who I was 5 years ago is very different than who I am now.
That's right.
And who I hope to be, in a year from now. So
Yeah.
this record, Compass, is some real stuff.
I was terrified to drop it.
But
I was terrified.
But I'm gonna tell you what, though, I have to also say, like, triple claps for you, because you were like, look, I gotta do this, and you recorded at home. You recorded yourself.
Yeah.
That's a discipline in and of itself.
need a little patience with myself when I try to speed around what's right in front of me. I need a little patience with myself. I know how the story goes. The cards have been dealt. Constantly down to take the right, hold the right. Maybe it's now that I catch my breath for a while. Just take it slow. You're growing old. You better breathe. Maybe if I had a little patience with myself, that I should know by now the pacing of my life. Why do I try to believe things will come to me swiftly? I've learned many times before, the lanes can take a left turn, and before you know you're down, and you're lying on the ground. Are you sure you wanna take that ride on the ride? Maybe it's now that you put those things aside. Just take it slow. You're growing older. You better breathe. Yeah, yeah. Maybe if you had a little patience with yourself. Maybe if you take a moment to stop now, take a look around, what will you find? Places, destinations, and signs say that you've arrived. Now maybe if I take these days to embrace a little space, time with myself, yeah. Oh, maybe if I had patience with myself, stop. 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 Stop.
So, bravo to that one.
Thank you. Yeah, that was you know, I always say too, get by with a little help from my friends. I'll make some calls. Okay, you know, this plugin or this thing, how do I do this? And I have this preamp and I'm learning all this tech stuff.
Right.
And I had homies, you know, that would say, okay, Debo, plug, you know, do this, your mic is in the wrong thing, like, you know, helping me along the way. And I've done voiceover work, and I worked in radio for 10 years. So I had the experience of recording myself at home, but not on this level. It's usually for jingles and voiceovers. But this was the next level with it.
But you get a triple clap on that one.
I
Definitely.
tried.
Now, let me ask you. So if we look at Compass, and if you could name your musical DNA, what would it be?
Name my musical DNA.
And you can pull from anywhere. What's in that helix of yours?
What's in the helix? Well, for Compass, this particular DNA had a little bit of the energy of, I was reaching back into like my Mary J. Blige bag, Brandy. I was definitely looking to the sisters of a very specific time in music, kind of like the 90s, early 2000s, kind of like heavy drums, you know, that head nod kind of zone. But then there's this mixture of like, there's always going to be Shaka in the DNA. Yeah. Because of the way I like to sing, because of the way I like to arrange. So there's always going to be a little Shaka in the DNA. But it was really like a lot of Faith Evans and Brandy,
the 90s R&B,
Boyz II Men, some of my arrangements.
Okay.
I teamed up with a phenomenal songwriter named Gordon Chambers.
Yes, Gordon. Shout out Gordon Chambers.
Shout out Gordon, who co-wrote Stride with me, and that was my Anita Baker bag. And so it's the ladies of like
90s R&B.
90s R&B. So I wanted to go, and you know what's wild? I wanted to go back to New Haven, because New Haven was where, you know, New Haven has a love for like hip hop R&B. It's an urban, like it's an around the way city. People don't know that Connecticut has a city or two or three that exists like that, but I'm definitely from there. And so I wanted to kind of like, I wanted a lot more like B-girl energy, swagadocious, like, that particular, for this record, for this moment.
So you 90s, black girl, R&B soul.
Yep, girls that were getting their flowers too. Recently, you know, Verses popped off during the whole pandemic. And so, you know, when Brandy and Monica had their verses, when Badu and Jill had their verses, it was just reminding me of all the sisters that like, at, you know, that term giving them their flowers, that was beginning to happen, that are my generation, not the, I love her, you know, I love some of the youngins coming up, but like, it was just beautiful to see this wave of like Generation X singers, like my generation, and I was really going there with this record.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so this comes to the anchor question of all the interviews.
Okay.
I would like to know, years 2050, Deborah Bond, we speak it as it is already happened. You are currently in that year, and you're speaking of what your legacy is. So what is DB's legacy?
Ooh, the legacy of DB is connection, is the connector, is the one who will bond.
But don't boom. No, go ahead, Bond, go ahead.
I said that for a reason, because I do feel like part of my purpose, even Deborah in the Bible, her
break it down.
Her story, you know, was to kind of guide people, lead people, connect people, unite people, empower people, to serve people. So for me, the music, the legacy will always be about helping others, servicing others, making other people feel seen, making other people feel not alone, unification, connection, bonds. No matter who you pray to, no matter who you love, no matter what tone of your skin, what your hair is like, how much you weigh, if you got lots of money, little money, there's a common thread in music that will always be a unifier. And I just kind of, that my legacy is to just hold on to that unity and that common human being connection, because we all have those threads.
I love it.
We all have it. So yeah.
Let me say, I got a little misty up here, because who I consider to be my peer group, especially including you, everybody has mentioned somewhere or another service.
Yes.
And it just makes me feel like I'm with my people.
God don't make no mistakes. We're drawn to each other.
Bingo.
We're drawn to each other, and as artists, we are always going to be of service. I mean,
if your heart is in the right place and you're doing the authentic, and it doesn't matter. You could be of service, dropping it like it's hot.
Yeah.
But it's all about the intention.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's all about the intention.
How about we just keep being of service? And this record, congratulations. Thank you again for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this and giving us this platform.
Oh, nah.
We need it. We appreciate it.
It's everybody. It's all good. No problem.
Indeed.
All right, so I'm Russell Taylor, and this is Deborah Bond on this episode of Soulversations. Let's go, baby.
Soulversations, come on, come on. You wanna party with me? Come on, come on. Soulversations, you wanna party with me? Come on, come on. It's just another sad love story. Different circumstances still plays the same. Boy meets girl, girl falls in love. Two people dance that dance again. But as usual, it may not have been the right timing. Still we try to make it last. Why must it feel so good? Can't help ourselves, we move so fast. And it's a shame for us, yeah. The losing side of the game. Let's do what's best for us and write a classic love song for the radio. Singing beautiful baby, playtime is over. Let's lay it down today. I hope that you hear me, 'cause I really love you. Let's lay it down Tuesday. I never really been one to believe in fairy tales, but honey, you bring out my inner child. Laugh and play with you, living the life of the free, free, free and wild. Hey. But as the story goes, may not have seen what's up ahead. Now these words are hard to write, 'cause I never, never, never want you out of my life. It's a shame, a shame, a shame for us, the losing side of the game. Let's do what's best for us and write a classic love song for the radio. Singing beautiful baby, playtime is over. Let's lay it down today. I hope that you hear me, 'cause I really love you. Let's lay it down Tuesday. Now beautiful baby, playtime is over. Let's lay it down. Let's lay it down for the radio. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Let's lay it down Tuesday. Beautiful, beautiful baby. Let's lay it down. I hope that you hear me, 'cause I really love you. Let's lay it down, let's lay it down. Oh, beautiful baby, playtime is over. Let's lay it down, let's lay it down. Oh, I hope that you hear me, 'cause I really love you. Let's lay it down Tuesday. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Beautiful, 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 beautiful baby. Let's lay it down. Oh, beautiful baby, playtime is over. Let's lay it down. Oh, let's lay it down for the radio. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Let's lay it down Tuesday.
Indecision is your vice. I can taste it on your lips. That
Okay, Deborah Bond. So listen, this is the part of Soulversations. It's called the lightning round, which means 5 questions, 5 rapid answers. You can't change the question because we always do if you know it's not what you want. But like you would do your best, and if you have to, we can pass. But
Okay.
let's try. Okay,
Okay.
5 lightning round. Here we go.
Okay.
If you had your choice of doing a show with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh boy, it would be probably Prince.
Good one.
That's the first thing came to mind.
Okay. All right. Who are you listening to now?
I'm listening to a singer named Leanne LaHavis.
She is fire.
I love her, and I still think she's got. People don't even know yet.
She's so dope.
Yeah.
This last record, solo.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Next one. Time capsule. You have to put a couple of things in the time capsule. Most important things about Debo's life here on Earth. What would they be? Give me 3.
Be some piece of vinyl. Not gonna say which one, but some vinyl. A really tasty piece of food. I'm a foodie.
Yeah, and you cook your tail off too.
I'll cook. I'll come from a family of cooking folks, so something yummy to snack on.
Okay.
Some vegetables.
Vegetables.
If we're gonna be snack on, because something from the earth. Something from the earth.
Yeah, because these days we
Yeah.
don't even know what's gonna be around.
Whether that be a crystal, whether it be some hematite, something from the elements.
Okay. We take that.
A bottle of red wine.
Oh, red wine? See, I would put some whiskey in there, but it's not my capsules.
Hey
yours.
man, maybe a little bit of that too.
Okay.
Something
You got
else.
it. You hit it.
I hit it?
You hit it.
Boom. There
okay.
we go. There we go.
So, next question. What is your favorite thing about Washington, D.C.?
The music.
Okay. And I did 1, 2, 3,
mambo
4.
sauce.
Mumbo sauce? We can throw that in there. Okay. Mumbo sauce. Shout out Mumbo sauce. If you don't know, you got to know. All right. So, the last and final. Oh, what is a book that is like your go-to warm thing of your life? Favorite book?
Favorite book. And I was always written up for not being much of a reader growing up.
Okay.
So that's a book called Effortless Mastery. Effortless Mastery is like, I keep returning to it. It is something that most artists and musicians should check out. I cannot remember the author's name. He's a musician himself.
It's okay.
But it's all about the mental approach to being a creator and getting over your ego and doing it for the right reasons and having the right intentions with it, and how it can change what you consider being a master of your craft. Effortless Mastery.
You passed lightning round. Shout out. Thank you for playing, Deborah.
Thank you for having me.